Hey, how y'all doing? This is your girl Tashi, and I am back with another video. So I'm reacting to 8 European cities. Eight European cities destroyed by over-tourism. So let's get straight to it. What?
Hey there, fellow travelers, Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're here in Dublin, Ireland, and today we're going to be talking about is over-tourism in Europe. Look, there are destinations in Europe that are really overflowing with tourists to the point that the cities can't handle it, and I kind of wanted to talk about some of those really famous places that you want to visit when you come to Europe, but you really will see an overabundance of tourists. I mean, they're kind of a victim of their own success because these are all fantastic places, but I just want you to have an idea of where the ones I've seen the most over-tourism, overall, okay? And probably one I need to talk about, and one you'll hear about in the news, is Venice, Italy. In Venice, you'll see there's so many more tourists that go there every year than people that live there. I mean, we're talking millions of visitors, but only like 40,000 inhabitants actually in the city. And it does get overrun, and especially when the cruise ships would come in, it became kind of more than the city could handle. And so they've limited where the cruise ships can go. And they've actually instituted a fee for coming into the town to kind of combat some of that over-tourism. But yeah, Venice is one of those places you're going to never be alone. No matter how many back alleys you go into, there'll be some other tourists that'll pop up there as well. Another place in Italy where I see a lot of over-tourism, a lot of really like just smash in like sardines kind of places, is on the Amalfi Coast. If you're going to Positano or Amalfi, you'll notice all the streets you're walking down, all the steps you're going up and down to go to the beaches and stuff are packed full of tourists from Italy, from around the world, from all over. But that's another place. That's why I tell people, look, if you don't want to get run over and smash like a sardine in Amalfi, maybe try Puglia, another part of Italy. That might be another good place to go because it's beautiful, great food, and not as many tourists, okay? Another place that I see a lot of tourists go, and it really is kind of like on the over-tourism board, but they've done a really good job of managing it though, is Barcelona, Spain. And in Barcelona, you have tourists that come all year round. So that's one of the things. It's got great stuff all the time. And there's tons of museums, there's beaches there, there's stuff for everybody, hence why everybody floods in. But the city has done a good job of kind of mitigating this by trying to get people to go out to other cities. Like,
y'all know how, if y'all know me, y'all been watching me for years. Y'all know I love to look at the buildings. I like looking at the architect. And look at that building right here, this one right here. Look at that. See, they don't take their time and make buildings like this anymore. It's just sad. Like, oh my God, it's just sad. But just looking at this is so beautiful. And they all different. They're not the same. And this is what I love. Like, I'm the type of person, if I travel, this is what I want to see. I don't care about nothing else. This is all I want to see. Look at the buildings. That is so nice. Look at that. That's nice.
Oh, go visit Verona when you're here. Go head out to the beaches when you're here. Have a day of culture when you're here. So that's kind of a nice thing. But honestly, when you go to Barcelona, you are going to be with everybody when you're there. Also, that's probably one of the reasons why it's the pickpocket capital. Don't notice when people are picking your pocket or maybe lifting your bag.
You're not going to get me.
Now, another city that is suffering from over-tourism but is doing a good job of handling it, I feel, is Paris. And Paris has been probably the most visited city in the world for years upon years upon years.
That's one place I don't want to go. I don't care for it.
You have the culture, you have the arts, you have the sights, you have the people, you have the food. You have so much wonderful things there that people just love visiting, no matter what time of the year it is. But Paris has done a good job, especially with the metro system, because you're never more than 500 meters away from a metro stop, so you can stay outside the center.
Look at this. Look at your subway. I wish our subway looked like this. I like this. No one could never push you because it's glass. And it's so clean and nice. I wish New York was like this.
I'm in, so you can really visit and kind of, be less central when you are there, which helps when you look at the over-tourism. However, when it is one of those things like the Louvre, like going to Musée d'Orsay, the Eiffel Tower, you will have long lines, you will have things. And I think that's something very important, not just in places that are over-touristed, but anywhere you go in Europe, if you can pre-book your tickets, it's worth it. I'm here in Dublin, and you can go see the Book of Kells, but you pre-book your ticket so you know when you can go, because sometimes things book out. If you want to go to the jail here, it books out. They only let it 28 days before, and boom, they sell it very quickly. And I guess that's another city I really need to talk about. Is Dublin is another city that's really got the over-tourism kind of thing.
I always want to go.
Everywhere you go, there are tons of people that are visiting here, going to school here, learning English here. And there's so many people here that it does get a little overrun. And that's one of the things when you go to these places that are kind of affected by over-tourism.
But don't they get a lot of money for? I mean, the city's getting a lot of money though. Because so many people are visiting.
it kind of takes away from the overall experience of visiting the country. That's why I tell people, when you get frustrated with Venice because it doesn't feel like it's real Italy, or you're not getting the best food, or when you're frustrated with all the people in Dublin, I don't feel like I'm getting that super friendly all the time awesomeness of Ireland. It's because of all the tourists that are there. There's just not enough time and not enough.
This is why you go and buy the locals. You don't need to go in that certain areas. Like I said before, I would never I don't want to go where all the tourist people. I don't want to go there. Send me someplace else.
And not enough space, so it's something to think about.
I need space.
Now,
I
another
need to
place
breathe.
where you're really going to feel the impact of over-tourism is Dubrovnik, Croatia. I mean, when you go to Dubrovnik and there are tour buses there, there are tour groups there, and there's cruise ships in the port, the city is completely packed. Whether you're walking down the cobbled streets or you're up on the city walls, you are always bombarded with more tourists. Now, the thing is, the city's gorgeous. But when the tourists and the cruise ships are there, it gets something that's almost hard to handle. That's why that's one of those places, if you're in the evening time, when everyone's gone back to their cruise ships and stuff, it actually is a wonderful place to be. And that's just it. All these cities are fantastic places to go. But if you can beat the crowds and not be there when it's super over touristy, it might be a good thing to look at, you know. But if you want to go to another historic city when you are in, you know, Croatia, when you don't want to be overrun by, you know, in Dubrovnik, you know, you can go down to Split, which is another beautiful city that you can go and visit. Now, another city that's been suffering with over-tourism for a number of years and kind of put their foot down and said, we're tired of this, is Amsterdam. And in Amsterdam, they used to have the I Amsterdam sign right by the Rijksmuseum.
I want to visit.
They're like, no, too many tourists here.
That's
they
on my
moved
list.
Actually to another part of the city to get tourists to go to a different part of the city. And the thing is Amsterdam actually actively is not promoting to tourists to come there. Like they want specific tourists. They don't want general tourists. And so the city has done a lot of stuff to kind of make it more, not difficult, but more expensive or less convenient for everyday travelers to go versus targeted travelers. But regardless of what they do, Amsterdam still is full of tourists, and that's not just the red light district, it's also the museums. I mean, you can go see the Anne Frank house. You want to book it right when you book your tickets for Amsterdam, book your tickets to the Anne Frank house to make sure you can get in. Also, your Rijksmuseum, time ticket for that as well. So something to kind of think about. Now, this past summer we spent in Greece, and there's actually two spots in Greece that really suffer from over-tourism. One is Athens, because people go there and they want to go to the Acropolis, and it's one of those days where it's almost so hot they can't have the Acropolis open in the afternoon.
Oh my, this will drive me crazy. Look at the amount of people. I just couldn't. Look at the amount of, I couldn't put myself in that situation. Look at that. I couldn't, y'all. This is too much.
You'll see the waves of people at the Acropolis, and you'll see the people going to the Plaka. And it just really gets to be just too much sometimes. So one of the things I
wouldn't be able to enjoy myself. I'm being honest. I wouldn't be able to enjoy myself.
If you were in one of these places with the over-tourism, and there's too much there, and it's really freaking you out, take a break. Find a cafe, go get a drink, get yourself away from it, or do a day trip from some of these places. For example, Amsterdam. Instead of staying in Amsterdam, why don't you stay in Haarlem or Utrecht? If you're going to be in Athens, go visit.
They got a place called Haarlem? He said Haarlem?
Visit Piraeus. Go visit the port where you're there. There's some stuff to see there.
Okay.
And that can kind of get you away from that insanity of the over-tourism.
Yeah, I need that.
Another place I think is important to mention for over-tourism is Santorini. You know, the island with the white buildings and the blue domes in Greece.
Greece is beautiful. I always want to go there, but look at the... Woo! I would have anxiety. I couldn't do it. It's too much people.
I mean, that place is just completely ransacked in the summertime. Like, insane. Like, you can't just show up and get a place. You have to book everything beforehand. Restaurants, doing things. I mean, it's insane. And that's the thing, is people sometimes don't realize that, yes, it's a beautiful place to go, but you do have to really prepare. That's why all these places I'm saying here, they're all worth going to. They're all fantastic. But you have to realize, with the over-tourism there, sometimes the locals are a bit done. The locals like, look, you've made it so it's too expensive for me to live here too. And so there is some animosity sometimes towards tourists in these places, like here in Dublin.
I'm quite a lot of countries are like that. Here in New York, it could be a little too much too. When you have too many people just come and visit, it's like, especially when they don't understand, they don't know how to stay out the way, you know? Especially when you're walking down the street and they choose to stand in the middle of the sidewalk. It's like, can you just move out the way? I'm glad you came to visit New York, but it's like, can you move out the way? It could just be too much sometimes. It could be too much, you know? So I understand.
Is an issue, not just for tourists, but for the locals. So when you're considering your destinations for going to Europe, maybe you think about the over-tourist kind of places that might be a little bit too many people for you, and maybe go visit those in the fall or the spring or the winter, so you're not like getting overwhelmed with the other tourists. So what are some places you've seen in Europe that are over-touristed? Let us know in the comments. Floyd.
I wouldn't know, but yeah, it could be a little too much people. It's not wrong people visiting these countries, you know, you're welcome, but sometimes it could be a little too much. So I understand them, you know, especially when you're so used to like leaving your house and, you know, you see your familiar faces and it's not too many people, it's not too crowded, there's no long lines. You're so used to that. So it's like now, like especially here in New York, the lines are so long. Even certain stores I go to, I'm like, where everybody came from? Like I go to certain stores, I'm like, since when this store have such a long line? And I'm the type of person, like, if you know me, I have no patience at all. I have no patience at all. If I see a long line, I'll walk away. I'll just drop whatever I have and I'll just leave the store. I have no patience at all. I really don't. I will look. If I see a long line in the store, I'm like, I'm not going in there. I'm not going inside. Not doing it. Anyway, comment below. Let me know how you feel about this. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And I will see you lovely people. Take care. Bye.